Coming up on the Suze Orman Show.
A case of stop me before I spend again.
You know, I can't have children. I got laid off. I was divorced. All of those, I think, made me try to compensate for feeling like I wasn't worth it.
You can never fix a financial problem with money. And you ask me, can I afford it?
I want to buy a pair of Santos de Cartier sunglasses for $850.
Hey, wait. Hi, everybody. I'm Suze Orman, and you are watching the Suze Orman Show. Tonight, I want to talk to you about financial problems. And a lot of you call into the show and you tell me that you're in debt, you don't have money to retire, no matter what the financial problem happens to be. And in my opinion, what really makes this show so special is the fact that over the 30 years that I've been working now with people and their money, I have come to truthfully believe that you cannot fix a financial problem with money. I've always said to you that money is the currency of your life. Money is a physical manifestation of who you are. You know, you all have to remember that without you, money can't do anything. You're the one who goes out and works for money. You're the one who gets a paycheck. You're the one who decides, should you save it? Should you invest it? Should you waste it? So money can't do anything without you. And when you decide to do things with money that really are not good for you, then it's because you have a certain feeling about who you are. There are emotions, there are scars, there are things going on in your life, and it's showing up in your money. You know, right away, I can tell when I meet somebody if they have a car that's full of junk. It's got, you know, soda cans, old wrappers from fast food drive-ins or whatever it may be, and their car really does look like a garbage heap. That's somebody who has credit card debt. Because if you can't respect what money can buy, you can't respect yourself. Do you understand? So I ask all of you, when you find that you have debt or you find that you have a financial problem, I ask you that you really look within to see why you are doing without, because that is where the true answer lies. Which brings me to my one-on-one guest tonight, which is a case of stop me before I spend again. My one-on-one tonight is Randy. She's coming to us from Raleigh, North Carolina. Randy is 43 years old and a project manager in pharmaceuticals. She's been married for almost 12 years to Chip. He's 40 and a project manager in nuclear energy. Here's the problem, though. Randy has accumulated $20,000 of credit card debt and paid it down twice. Now it's back up again, and she wants to get rid of this once and for all. So, Randy, welcome to the Suze Orman Show, and tell everybody what you did to stop the bleeding before reaching out to me.
I froze my credit card into a block of ice.
You froze it. So you thought, so you had $20,000 of credit card debt, you paid it down. You ran it back up again. And you thought the answer to this is simply to take the credit card and put it in this block of ice so that you could freeze your financial habits, so to speak. Did it work?
Actually, within probably 48 hours, I started to get the heebie-jeebies. I started wrestling with myself. Unfreeze it. No, leave it frozen. You can't do this anymore. And that's when I wrote into the show, because freezing it sounded really good, but it didn't really get me anywhere.
All right, so here is the real question, and I'll say this line over and over again on the Suze Orman Show. You can never fix a financial problem with money, because there's some other problem that causes you to spend. You did have the ability to pay down $20,000 of credit card debt already twice. But something happens to you to then get you to want to go out and shop and shop and shop and spend and spend and spend again. And so the problem isn't money. You have the ability to pay down the debt. But the question is, what is lacking in who you are? Because there's a theory that I have, we spend more than when we feel less than. So tell everybody a little bit about your life as to what are the things in your life that either you're not happy about, you're ashamed about, or that cause you some type of turmoil in your mind?
I think most of my adult life, I've been in relationships with people or worked with people or been friends with people who have definitely made me feel less than. I went through a lot of physical and health problems in my 30s as well, and I always just felt less than, not really consciously, but once I started working through the money worksheet for your show, I really realized I was covering up for something, and that I think it was I didn't feel worth it. You know, I can't have children. I got laid off. I was divorced. All of those, I think, made me try to compensate for feeling like I wasn't worth it.
Yeah. You know, Randy, I usually find the very first thing that somebody mentions is the key reason as to why they feel empty. And the very first thing that you said was you can't have children. So let's talk about that for a little. You've tried to have children, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
We had 7 miscarriages.
All right, so you had 7 miscarriages. And are you the type of woman who really wanted a baby, who still wants a child? Was that something that was really important to you?
It was.
It was, and it's possible that it still is. And here's something that you can't have, and that you haven't quite recovered from that, because that's making you feel empty, most likely. You know, when I was going through all your paperwork, I actually said to Sherry, who is the producer for this segment, I said, the reason she's doing this is because she had 7 miscarriages. But it's very hard for Suze Orman to sit here and simply say that to somebody like you without you kind of going there yourself. So when I do say that, does that ring true?
Yeah, it was really, really difficult. It was difficult emotionally. It was difficult physically. And I know it was really hard on my relationship with my husband. And fortunately, you know, we're madly in love with each other, but, you know, it made me feel less than. I can't give him a child.
Yeah, but you can give him your love. You can give him an incredible relationship. You can, if both of you really want it, you can have a child. There are many children out there that would love to be adopted. So what stops you from doing that and adopting a child?
I was laid off shortly after the last miscarriage. And I also was kind of in a state where, with that many miscarriages in a row, we thought about it, but we knew financially it was going to be very expensive. But the other part was I really couldn't take another rejection. My heart just couldn't take it.
All right. So do you understand that this $20,000 of debt that keeps coming and going and coming and going is just your way, in a very strange way, of punishing yourself for you feeling that you're not good enough and you need all these things around you? And today is the day you need to turn that around. You need to become your own new best friend. Because the truth of the matter is, you and Chip make a very, very good living. Once you were to be able to get out of this credit card debt, you would be able to save $3,000 or $4,000 a month. You could do anything and everything that you want, but somehow you believe you deserve not to have anything. And somehow you believe you need to suffer. And I don't know why, really, you believe that, other than the reasons that have happened to you, but I do believe you can change that around. Now, the way somebody changes something around isn't by grabbing a credit card and going out and spending money. The way somebody changes something around is by having a new truth, words or something that you can repeat that make you feel better than, that make you feel strong. So if there was one thing that you would like to say to yourself as to who you would love to be, how would you say that to yourself?
I am enough.
You are enough, right? So,
I am enough.
All right, I would like you to create a new truth that you write down 25 times a day. A new truth that you look into the mirror and repeat silently back to yourself before you go to bed. I want you to get in your car or someplace where you can scream that new truth at the top of your lungs 25 times a day. And I want you to commit to doing this for at least 6 months. And that new truth is, I am more than enough. I am more than enough. Say it to me.
I am more than enough.
Say it with power, girlfriend. You are training to run an Ironman competition. You need muscles and strength to do that. With that energy, I want you to say to me your new truth.
I am more than enough.
Again, try it one more time with energy and force, like I am more than enough.
I am more than enough.
How did that feel when you just said that?
That felt great.
Great. I know people think this doesn't work, but I'm here to tell you, if you do what I've said to do, and I'm going to give you an action plan about money in 1 second, but if you do that, every time you're tempted to go out, every time you are tempted to spend money you don't have, anytime you are tempted to sabotage yourself, you are to stop and you are to say, I am more than enough. I am always going to be more than enough. Nobody's going to keep me down. I am more than enough. If you can do that, your life will start to turn around psychologically. Financially, here's what I suggest. I know you put your little credit card. Are you crying?
I feel really good.
No.
It's tears of happiness.
By
actually.
one little sentence. One sentence. So in the future, I ask you to remember how that one little sentence for a few minutes here on the Suze Orman Show brought tears of joy to you. And then I want you to concentrate when you're about to take out that credit card, the years of pain that little piece of plastic has caused. Here's what I suggest you do. I suggest, in the same way, when you start to run this Ironman competition, you have got to finish it, you have got to do it, and you have the determination all on your own with nobody else holding you up, nobody else really rooting you on to get through the toughest challenges physically in life. I want you to take that attitude with your credit card, and I want you to cut it up. I do not want you to freeze it. I want you to cut it up and vow that you are not going to order another one. Next, I do not want you to look back anymore. I do not want you to look at what you had, what you wanted to have. I want you to look at what you actually have in your life. And what you have in your life, girlfriend, is a wonderful husband. I don't care about the person you were married to. You have a wonderful job. I don't care that you were laid off. I don't care what happened to you. I want you to focus on what you have, not at what you had, and I want you to look forward. Can you do those three things? Your truth, cutting up your credit card, and looking forward. Can you do that?
Absolutely.
Can you do it with that power and conviction that you had a few minutes ago?
Absolutely.
All right, that is your plan. We're going to be checking in on you, and I want to know that you finished the Ironman and you finished your past and are willing to live your future.
Hi, Susie. I can't tell you how free I feel after talking with you and really realizing that a lot of the spending I've been doing has been punishment. Whether the projects and running up the card so high, and also how much we're paying each week toward the credit card. There's never any room for anything fun, and we had no money for emergencies, so we were always draining the emergency account. And there's one last thing I thought you'd like to see yourself. Here goes the card, just like you asked. And it's all gone. I am more than enough, and I know that now. So thank you very much, Susie.
I am embarrassed to say it, but I have helped out financially.
When you get married, your new husband is not going to want you to be spending your money on your ex-fiance. And later, when wanting something, ask me, can I afford it?
I want to buy a Cube 3D printer. I'm a geek, and I love technology. I always have to have the latest and greatest technology gadget, and I think this 3D printer would be a lot of fun for me and my two sons.
Are you ready? Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show. Let's go to Texas. Alicia, what's on your mind tonight?
Hi, Suze. I've got a question for you. A few years ago, I bought a house with my then fiance. We're not together anymore, and he still lives in the home. He's not able to refinance, so I can't take my name off the mortgage. I am embarrassed to say it, but I have helped out financially out of fear that my credit will suffer. Since then, I've completely moved on with my life, and I'm getting married next year. So I would like to know what else I can do to take my name off of this mortgage.
If he isn't willing to refinance because he's not eligible to refinance, and you care more about your credit score than standing in your truth, you're going to have to continuously come up with money so that your credit score stays okay. I have to tell you, in this situation, what I would be doing is I would not be helping him out. I would understand that it's going to really hurt my own credit score. But that's the price I have to pay by making a move that I never should have made, by buying something before we were married and before we were ready to do so. So if you keep helping him out, he's going to continue to always be a failure when it comes to money because he doesn't have to live up to his responsibility. So maybe one of the greatest things that could eventually happen is that the house is taken away from him. Eventually it's foreclosed on and your name comes off of it. I know that's not a great solution, but it is the honest solution because you just said you were embarrassed that you continue to help him. When you get married, your new husband is not going to want you to be spending your money on your ex-fiance. So this is the time to stand in your truth. Let's go to Lee in New York. What's on your mind tonight?
Hi, Susie. My girlfriend and I are planning on getting married. She's really terrible with money. She borrows from our IRA and a 401k. And even refinance on her home, and still she's going to have to work till she's 70. She doesn't look at prices, and she won't say no to her grown children. I'm worried about our future and how her debt will affect me. If we get married, do I marry her dead?
You're going to marry her debt, not her past debt, but you're going to be marrying her future debt. My question would be back to you, why are you going to get married? I understand that we get to get married now here in, the state of New York City, but really, is this something you want to do? Can you hear it in your voice, my love? That her financial habits are really going to affect the two of yours future. And if somebody doesn't have a hold on their money, I always have said money is just simply a physical manifestation of who you are. And if she can't respect money, she doesn't respect herself. If she doesn't have any self-respect, you're the one that's going to have to carry her in all kinds of circumstances. So I would not be getting married to her under no matter what, until she 100% changed her ways. Let's go to Jamie in Pennsylvania. You're on the Suze Orman Show.
Hello, Susie. I'm calling because my boyfriend is having trouble with his family. They are consistently coming to him asking for loans. He's basically in a pretty tight situation. He's the only one in his family who's employed, and even though he knows that this cannot go on forever, he knows it's interfering with his ability to save. He feels very trapped because he feels like he can't turn his back on them. So basically, I'm wondering, what should he do in this situation?
The only thing he can do is be honest with them. As long as they come to him and he says yes, they're going to continue to come to him. If he just says no, just once, and then he's able to see how they respond, he's going to understand that they possibly have been using him for money versus just loving him for who he is. I don't really know how to get somebody to stand in their truth. Somebody has to value themselves, Jamie, more than they value others. But I can tell you, if he continues to do this, it will affect your relationship, because if you get married and all of the money that you're bringing in is going to his family, it's going to start to upset you, and that will come between the two of you. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
If your boyfriend isn't the one that can be strong, you're going to have to be strong for him and say to him, you're going to have to choose. It's either me or your family, and hopefully he will make the right choice when it comes to you.
Up next, you can't afford to miss. Can I afford it?
I want to go on a world cruise with my husband for 113 days, and it's going to cost about $60,000 to $65,000.
Oh, we have extravagant people on the show today.
Also,
$850 for a pair of sunglasses. Don't you think that's a lot of money?
Yeah, it is.
But
I think I've done well for myself, so I think I deserve it.
What do you want to buy?
Santos de Cartier sunglasses.
Cube 3D printer.
Cajun Express pressure smoker.
Welcome back, everybody. You know what segment this is now, don't you? It's the Can I Afford It segment. This is where you call in. You tell me what it is that you want to buy, and I tell you if you can afford it or not. Are you ready? Let's begin. Elizabeth, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. I'd like to buy a Cajun Express pressure smoker for $750.
A Cajun pressure smoker. Have you used one of these before?
Well, I haven't used one, but I've tasted the meat from one, and it is delicious.
Delicious. And are you somebody that barbecues and you're always cooking outside?
Well, my husband is, and if he's cooking, that means I'm not. So that's a good thing.
All right, girlfriend, show me the money.
Okay, so our take-home is $99.13, and that's combined with a military housing allowance.
Yeah.
Our expenses are $43.19, and that includes the $15.60 for rent.
Mm-hmm.
Our only debt is a $17,000 car loan at 1.9%. And in savings, we have $82,000 liquid, $60,000 in investments, and $85,000 in retirement.
Approved. I'm not even going to play with you here. Look at your life. You are 29 years of age. You are just doing great. You want to get a Cajun pressure smoker cooker. You go ahead and do that. Girlfriend, Paul, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. I want to buy a pair of Santos de Cartier sunglasses for $850.
Wait. $850 for a pair of sunglasses. Sunglasses that get scratched. Sunglasses that you can lose. $850. I have never in my life spent $850 on a pair of glasses. $850. Don't you think that's a lot of money?
Yeah, it is.
But
I think I've done well for myself, so I think I deserve it.
I always get curious. I always get curious when people think they deserve it. I'll tell you what, show me the money.
All right. So, show you the money. So my take home is $1,950, and that includes $1,150 for an education and housing supplement. My expenses are $1,864 a month. For debt, I have a $93,000 30-year fixed mortgage, and in savings, I have $30,000 liquid and $13,000 in investments and $48,000 in retirement.
And how are you going to pay for this?
With cash, with my liquid account.
And are you telling me that the majority of your income is made up of an educational subsidy?
Yes.
Yes, that you don't have to pay back? It's just they're subsidizing
Correct.
your education?
Yep.
And
It's paying for all of my education, all of my classes and books, and even pays for my for the housing as well.
it's about to kill me what I'm going to do. But you are approved because look at you at 28. Look how much money you have saved. You have in investments. You have in retirement. If this is what you want to do with it, okay. Linda, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. I love your show.
Thank you, Linda.
I want to go on a world cruise with my husband for 113 days, and it's going to cost about $60,000 to $65,000.
Oh, we have extravagant people on the show today, I see. So 113 days, which means you're not going to be working. You're going to be cruising. That seems like a great thing to do with time if you can afford it. So show me the money.
Well, we take home $10,764 a month, which includes our Social Security, pensions, dividends, RMD, that sort of thing.
Don't you love that?
Yeah.
So otherwise, people, if you're watching what she's telling you, she doesn't have to work another day and they're making $10,000 a month. That is what happens when you work. You get your money to work for you. Okay, go on.
Our expenses, or at least what we spend, is $9,289 a month.
Uh-huh.
We have no debt. We own our home outright.
Yeah.
In savings, we have, we carry about $59,000 liquid, $1.5 million in investments, and $1.4 million in retirement.
How are you going to pay for this?
Well, we were thinking about doing about half in liquid and taking out half of it in investments, from the investments.
Girlfriend approved. You're not making this fun for me, anybody. It's so obvious that you should be approved. Does it matter that you have an 8-month emergency fund or not, because your pension is totally covering everything. Wherever you take it from, you're going to be just fine. I hope you have the time of your life. Michael, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. It's so great to talk to you. I've been a fan for years.
Thank you, sir. What do you want to buy?
I want to buy a Cube 3D printer.
You actually, I'm into this. I actually own stocks in this area, but you want to buy one of these things. Yes. How come?
You see, I'm a geek, and I love technology. I always have to have the latest and greatest technology gadget, and I think this 3D printer would be a lot of fun for me and my 2 sons.
Yeah, I think it would. I bet you there are many people watching right now that they don't have a clue what a 3D printer is. And just so you know, everybody, if you draw a little picture and you put it in there, it actually comes out. Like you could make a cup. You can make a box, and it comes out that way. So they're really quite something. Anyway, Michael, show me the money.
Okay, my take-home is $5,600 a month.
Yeah.
Our expenses are $4,780 a month.
Looking good so far, sir.
For debt, we just have $43,000 left on a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage.
Great.
And in savings, we have $8,000 liquid, $7,000 in investments, and $432,000 in retirement.
And how are you going to pay for this?
I was going to take half out of take-home and half out of liquid savings.
And so that then would bring you down a little bit in liquid, but you're making good money. And so therefore, are you ready? Denied.
Okay.
And what you knew I was going to deny you, right? And the reason I'm denying you is because you are way, way underfunded, really, in retirement and everything, given that you're 53 years of age. You need more of an emergency account. You don't have that much in investments. So all the magic of 3D printing isn't going to be manufacturing and creating money for you. You just have to be a geek without this one. Megan, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. Thank you for taking my call.
Anytime.
I want to surprise my husband with a yellow Chevy Camaro convertible.
So it has to be yellow. It can't be like red or blue. It's got to be yellow. Is that correct?
Yellow is his color.
Is his color. How come you want this?
I recently graduated from a master's degree, and shortly after our first son was born, I decided to change my career, and my husband was very supportive through it, like all good husbands, and helped me get through it financially and emotionally. And 3 years later, I have a second master's degree. So thanks to him.
And you just want to be sweet to him. All right, show me the money. Let's hope for this one.
All right, our take-home is $9,488, and that's combined income with a rental.
Great.
Our monthly expenses are $7,329.
Yeah.
In terms of debt, we have $287,000 30-year fixed mortgage.
Yeah.
A $181,000 30-year fixed mortgage, which is our rental.
Yeah.
$10,000 in student loans.
Yeah.
$9,000 in a car loan.
Yeah.
$2,000 in credit cards.
Yeah.
In terms of savings, we have $45,000 in liquid.
Yeah.
$3,000 in investments.
Yeah.
And $67,000 in retirement.
Yep. How are you going to pay for this?
Well, the car is worth $46,000 approximately, and I'd like to trade in our Honda Civic, which should give us about $9,000 to $10,000 if we're lucky.
If you're lucky on that. All right, denied. You're not even close to being able to afford this. You still actually owe $9,000 on one of your cars. You have credit card debt. You don't have enough money really in many of the things. You have student loan. No, don't do this. I know he's been good to you. I know everything's great, but these are your compounding years. This money is far better off being invested, being, positive, not in a yellow car. No, girlfriend, want to be part of the Can I Afford It segment? All you have to do is go to my website, SuzeOrman.com, and you will find the information you need to know there to come and play with me right here. And if we choose you to be on the air, whether we have approved you or denied you, you're going to get an appropriate T-shirt that will look something like this. I think they're cool. See, V-neck. You'll look hot in it. Next, I tackle trending topics in Ask Suze. Did he or she show you the guaranteed side? Not projected, but guaranteed.
Yes.
And it wasn't so good then, was it?
No.
Welcome back, everybody. Control room here at CNBC headquarters. This is where all the magic happens. Anyway, so many ways that you can get in touch with us here at the Suze Orman Show. Please take a look at your screen. You can join me on Facebook, send in an email, or if you send in a tweet and put hashtag Ask Suze, it comes to us here. And if we choose it, your tweet will be on the air. Let's see what's trending right now. So we have at Lauren Morphin. How can my BF and I budget, split the cost of dates and other activities equally if we don't have shared accounts? Any tips? What does shared accounts have to do with splitting a bill equally? The real question here, not that I mean to tell you what you should be asking me, but the real question here should be, can you afford to go out and spend money if possibly your BF has more money than you? So should you be going out at all and spending money? Never spend more than you feel comfortable with, and that is the amount that you should spend. If your BF has more money than you, then they can make up the difference. But it doesn't have to be that you have money in one account that you share. It has to be that you share the same values. Got that? Let's see what else is trending. At Jen2590, what really is the difference between Roth and traditional IRAs? I don't think I can answer this question enough because it's important for you to understand. A Roth IRA is a IRA that you fund with money that you have already paid taxes on. A traditional IRA is money that you fund that you have never paid taxes on. The difference is when you go to take out the money in a traditional IRA, you will pay ordinary income taxes on that money. In a Roth IRA, when you go to take the money out, it will be tax-free. In a traditional IRA, you can't access that money in most cases before the age of 59 and a half without a 10% penalty. In a Roth IRA, you can take any money that you originally put in out at any time, regardless of your age, without taxes or penalties. I can go on, but really, can you just take it from me? The best IRA is a Roth IRA. Check it out. We are going to webcam. Rhode Island is waiting for us, and Kimberly is there. Ask me your question.
Hi, Suze. Is whole life insurance as an investment ever a good choice? Right now, my husband and I are contributing 15% to our 401ks. We have an 8-month emergency fund, and we own a house. We have money each month in excess that would want to invest, and our financial advisor is our financial planner is advising us to use half of the monthly excess to fund a whole life insurance policy. He says that whole life insurance is a good way to fund midterm goals tax-free. If I know I wouldn't need this money for another 10 to 15 years, is this a good idea?
When he was telling you about this policy, how did you feel in your gut? Did you believe him? Was this something that you wanted to do, or did you have doubt? Tell me.
There's a little doubt, but the reason we went this direction is because we were interested in 529s for our daughters. And we were a little worried about how the stock market goes up and down in those kind of funds. And so this made it very, very even. You knew that in that 15 years when they go to college, you knew exactly how much money you'd have.
And how did you know? By looking at the projected values, correct, of that illustration of the whole life policy that he or she showed you. Did he or she show you the guaranteed side? Not projected, but guaranteed.
Yes.
And it wasn't so good then, was it?
No.
No, all right, so listen to me. If I were you, I would not be doing a whole life. I think it is a waste of money. I would be taking the excess money I had and I would be funding a Roth IRA with both my money and my husband's money. So I would be putting in close to $11,000 a year towards whatever you wanted to. You can take whatever money you put in out tax-free and not disqualify your children for financial aid. And that would be the money that I would use for that. You could always invest in a Roth IRA, in a CD, and treasuries, and anything that is safe and sound. Stop buying whole life, people. It is just that easy. All right, let's go back to the studio, and here's what's coming up next. Mary Beth wants to know, Susie, how am I doing? What's so sad about what's going on in the United States for people who are getting older and want to retire, interest rates are still so low that there's no safe place for you to really generate enough income to make it. Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show.
Hi, Susie. I'm 56 and now single. For years, I've known that I've wanted to live in the Pacific Northwest and follow my dream to work in the wine industry. I've put money away in investments to make sure my nest egg would last me through any transition. My goal is to retire at 60, sell my house, move to Oregon, and start a new life. Susie, how am I doing?
So, Mary Beth, first of all, welcome to the Suze Orman Show. How are you?
I'm doing great, Susie. How are you?
Great. So you want to become a wino, huh? Not really. You know what I mean. And so if you were going to give yourself a grade, so that really in just a few years, 4 years from now, have you been doing everything correctly, in your opinion, to allow you to move and start a new life in just 4 years? What grade would you give yourself?
I'd give myself a B+ because I always believe there's room for improvement.
Okay, so let's show everybody your finances, and let's see what I give you then. So, as you've heard, Mary Beth is 56. She is divorced. Currently, she has $917,000 in a retirement account, $50,000 in emergency funds, $322,000 in investments. Her current home is worth $215,000. She has no credit card debt or consumer debt, but she does owe $147,000 on her home. But here she is at 56 with a current net worth of about $1.3 million. Fabulous, if you ask me. Now let's look at income versus expenses. Her take-home income is $5,300 a month. Her monthly expenses are about $3,400 a month. So she's able to save $1,800 a month, and she still has about $146 a month in excess. So if I was going to give you a grade, I'm pretty close to the grade you gave yourself, I would give you a B, not quite a B+. And here's my reasoning. Once you've sold your house and you've done everything, your pension, everything that you have going for yourself, the amount of money you're going to get from retirement, is only going to give you about, believe it or not, $3,800 a month after taxes. What's so sad about what's going on in the United States for people who are getting older and want to retire, interest rates are still so low that there's no safe place for you to really generate enough income to make it. You know, 4 years ago, you could have doubled your income because interest rates were so much higher than they are now. So 4 years from now, I'm afraid interest rates may still be relatively low, so I'm just being conservative. Now, $3,800 sounds like a lot, but your goal as to what I think you're going to need to live on is going to be about $3,500 a month. So $400 or $300 extra per month is cutting it too close, in my opinion, but you're almost there, sweetheart. It's not that big of a deal. So here's your way to an A. Save like you've been saving. Move out to the Pacific Northwest. But I would get another job.
Absolutely.
All right, and I would just simply work till I was 67. If you worked till you were 67 and you were able to cover your expenses and save all this money and let it build and build and build and then take Social Security if you need it at 67 or 70, sweetheart, you would be sitting back, drinking wine, having a good time, and having a great, great life. So you're almost there. So just keep saving and doing that, and you'll be just great. Coming up next, one more thing I want you to know. If you have a financial problem, just understand you have the ability to deal with it. Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show. All right, everybody, that's almost a wrap here on the Suze Orman Show. But before we go, there is still one more thing I want you to know. My one-on-one guest tonight, Randy, maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, but Randy was a woman who really had this case of she kept spending and spending and spending, meaning that she got herself into credit card debt, she would get herself back in, out, in, out. And Randy was really willing to go inside to find out why was she doing that. Because, you know, as I started tonight's show, it's financial problems really have nothing to do with money. They have to do with how you feel about who you are. And what's so wonderful about Randy is she was willing to go within to see why she was doing without. And we saw her literally transform right here on television, right before our very eyes. And so I bring that up again, because it's not just Randy who can do that. You can do that as well. I ask you, and I will always ask you, if you have a financial problem, just understand you have the ability to deal with it if you're just simply willing to stand in your truth as to why you think you have that problem when it comes to who you are versus what you have or you don't have. Now you know. But until next week, there's really only one thing that I want you to remember when it comes to your money, and it is this: people first, then money, then things. Now you stay safe. Bye-bye.